Hi, everybody. I'm Paul. Welcome to my Curious Corner of Controversy. If you haven't figured it out yet, with all the things around us, today we're doing makeup tutorials. Oh, that's next week, sorry. This week we're focusing on Gears of War and its plethora of things. And one lucky viewer will get to win this as soon as they go find their own. Fucking cheap asses. Anyways, back to the story. So, today we're going to be talking about Gears of War, specifically more or less 5. I might give a brief rundown of the series, but if you know anything about it, it's a series expanding a galaxy, expanding universe. It's been around for 13 years with 6 major titles, a bunch of little spin-offs, books, novels, graphic novels, comics. Yeah, those are all kind of the same thing, give or take, splitting hairs. And various other things. Phone games, mobile apps, you name it, they probably have it. Well, I don't know about Gears of War porn yet, but we'll figure something out. I'm sure with all the tentacles out there, there isn't something else, but who knows. Anyways, write that down, that's copyright. So, alright. If you haven't played Gears of War, it is a long expanding thing that all started way back in 2006. It was created by a group of individuals, mainly Cliff Bliznicki, I don't know. Everybody calls him Cliffy B. That's what I'm going to go with. He's a very, seemed to be soft-spoken, but very awesome guy who his morals kind of dictate how he runs the show. But without him, we wouldn't have this. This is his little love child baby thing that he put years of blood, sweat, and tears into, along with a lot of people at Epic Games, People Can Fly, and the Coalition. All those companies are responsible for a variety of games, such as, well, for one, Epic Games. They released the Unreal Engine, which you name a game that doesn't use it, there's probably more that do. They also are newly stepping their foot into a long-developed game, Fortnite, which I'm sure plenty of you know about. I have yet to play it at all. It's not my bag. I'm more of a solo player game. I'm not big into multiplayer. I don't like people, so it doesn't make sense that I go and interact with them when I'm trying to play my games that I want in solitude to get me away from the people. Anyways. Sorry, did my eyes glaze over? So, Gears of War. Aliens maybe, but not. Monsters for sure. Human hybrids, maybe mind control. I'm sure that's in there somewhere at some point. The game's covered all kinds of stuff. But one thing that you can definitely be for sure, it's the first time I've ever used a machine gun that has a chainsaw attached to it, conveniently, for house remodeling projects like moving sofas, hanging up pictures, cutting up bodies. It's very convenient. Whoever thought of it was a multitasker, apparently, like Bob Ross level genius. So I played the first game when it first came out, and I think I beat it. I don't remember offhand. I do remember that as soon as I played it, I was blown away by the graphics. The whole series has always been something where graphically they've been ahead of the curve, or at very least, like right on the cutting edge. Right off the bat with their first game, their cutscenes and gameplay were kind of seamless. A lot of games, they do that whole anime thing where 90% of it is kind of simplified, but then those epic cutscenes are just balls to the wall with graphics, and then the graphics go back down. But over the last, 5-10 years, a lot of series and game engines has been able to slowly, seamlessly work that in, and Gears of War is kind of up there in the upper echelon of being able to do that. Along with that, it's a very art style. It's very different than a lot of things out. Like normally in most games where, you know, you name it Halo or Doom, or, I mean, that's more of a classic, and all the remakes and reboots and all that stuff. But all the heroes are they're the comic book hero. They're tall, masculine, you know, the Greek statues, all that kind of stuff. But Gears of War, they still have that, but they have more of the classic comic book Wolverine build, where they're just bulky and muscular, but yet the women are still elegant and, you know, Lara Croft styled, you know, strong, physically fit women. But these guys are like giant garden gnomes, basically, that march around killing awesome monsters with all kinds of guns, and a really fun one called the Hammer of Dawn that shoots a beam from the sky and just annihilates anything in its path. Oh, that was fun. But anyways, back to the story. So Gears of War follows a imprisoned soldier named Marcus Phoenix, or to some known as Marquis Phoenix, or, you know, maybe none of them say his name that way, but I'm sure in one of the things that I've researched. No, I'm lying. I'm sorry. I think it'd be better if, like, this big macho guy walks in and he's like, I'm gonna kill everybody, and my name is Marquis Phoenix. It would just be funny, but I don't know. I'm stupid. Anyways, so Marcus Phoenix gets out of prison with the help of a few of his old soldier pals from the Pendulum Wars, which is a 79-year war that takes place on various planets and things like that. Like, literally 79-year war. Like, I'm not a historian of video games. I'm not here to give you the entire backstory of the Gears of War series. I'm here to give you a little bit of information and give you my opinion on the stuff. If you want the history and stuff, you can go to the link that's provided in somebody else's video that they did about the history of Gears of War, which I like the games, but I don't have that kind of time. Anyways, they've had 6 major releases, 5 being the newest one, of course. They had a prequel that takes place kind of before everything, of course, that's why it's called a prequel. But it actually follows the story of Damon Baird, and kind of shows you the precursor to things. Through all the Gears of War games, there have been awesome gameplay elements. They were one of the really first games to do that over-the-shoulder. Well, Resident Evil 4 was the big wave breaker for that, but that cinematic angle where the camera's right behind the guy, and it's that I don't know, it just changed all of first-person shooting games. Time out. I gotta get a beverage.
A few moments later.
Anyways, so Gears of War 1, 2, and 3 mainly follow Marcus and his gang of guys just going around, knocking around skulls of different, not alien creatures, because, like I said, they're what happens when humans get trapped in weird environments and are forced to evolve into those fucking guys with the teeth lips. They don't have lips, but they got the teeth lips. I don't know. It's weird. Again, garden gnome soldier looking guys, sexy women. That's weird. They're not bulky, even though the armor is, but still, they look like supermodels. But it's fucking weird. But cool. The graphics, again, amazing. Through all of the games, they never really took a step backwards or even out. They just progressed and got graphics to where this new one is just like, it's partyful. Real partyful, I gotta tell you. Can't quit you. Alright. Sorry about that. Alright, so ahead. Major spoilers. Gears of War 4 takes place 25 years after Gears of War 3, and mainly focuses on JD, who is Marquis Phoenix's son, also known as JD. As he goes on his little fun adventure through the dystopian, destroyed, crazy worlds that are Gears of War. Throughout the way, you see some of his fellow companions, such as Kate, who may or may not be his lady, but it definitely seems like it. I don't know if they're going to spit out kids anytime soon, but it happens or it doesn't. I don't know what they're into. They could be a pegger, whatever. If you don't know what that is, don't look it up. I'm begging you, don't look it up. Anyways, so they go on an adventure, try and kill a bunch of stuff, try and save the world, all that jazz. And, well, along the way, Kate's mother gets abducted by the swarm. And, well, they try and merge her with their hive mind kind of thing. Kate and the gang find her. The only way to save her is to basically cut her free from it, which in turn causes her to croak like a frog. She's just laying there going, "Rubbit, rubbit." Not really. She dies. She quite brutally dies. Kate cries. She had to kill her mom. Couldn't save her. It's very, very sad. Kate's mom gives her a necklace. She looks at the necklace. Turns out it is an ancient locust symbol that belonged to her grandmother, which is also the queen locust from the very first game, who Marcus killed. Because somehow this giant universe all takes place, like all these coincidence is just kind of ridiculously crammed in there that, yeah. Anyways, so that's how the fourth game loosely ends. There's some other things that happen, but that's like the big thing. Kate is left with her mother dead and questions about her lineage, and that's basically where 5 kind of takes over. With 5, they really are just like pumping up the graphics. They are spectacular. Like, I've seen it played on both Xbox and on computer, and I gotta tell you, like, I've got a good computer, but I've never been a computer gamer, and this is gonna be one of the few games that might convert me to play on computer, because normally it's not that noticeable, but it is just like crisp with a capital, the letters that are in crisp. Like, it's good stuff. Whatever system you play it on, it's a beautiful game, don't get me wrong, but I gotta give it to computer gamers that, like, I'm jealous just a little bit on this one. So, with the new Gears of War, they are really trying some new things. They have a new, I guess you'd call it a map builder mode called Escape, where, like I just said, you build a map, you can populate it with monsters, robots, weapons, whatever, and then you can publish it to have other people play. This, that, and the other. They're really trying to open up to the new trend of, MMOs and stuff like that, like Fortnite and all the other things, which aren't my cup of tea, personally. I prefer coffee, but, it is what it is. Again, Fortnite is made by these guys as well, which is crazy when you look at, like, aesthetics, because Gears of War is just bloody and gritty. It's like Tarantino, Del Toro, and Raimi got together and made a sci-fi grindhouse movie, while Fortnite is, I don't know, Ultimate Spider-Man brought to life. Like, it's very kiddish, teenage style artwork is the best way I can describe it. It's good, don't get me wrong, but stylistically, completely different sides of the coin. But yeah, Gears of War, they've just pumped it up with this new game. I'm only a few hours into the main campaign, and so far the cinematographics are amazing, the sound is amazing, the gameplay is very similar to where it's always been, but it seems with every game they just tighten it up a little more and a little better and introduce new elements that just make the game more immersive. I've played, like I said, I played the first one almost all the way through. I'm pretty sure I beat it. The second game, I watched my roommates play, old roommates, play all the way through. The third game, bits and pieces of. The fourth, very little I've seen, besides, doing research to make this video, and seeing a few friends play it here and there. But this new game, it's the game itself, like, if you know the franchise and have been there since the beginning, it's everything you want it to be and then more. If it's a game series that you've never played before, you can pick it up and just as soon as you start the game and they give you that previously on, where they fill you in on the past, 25 plus years of story, not to mention the 79 years of war before that. You just see that this game has so much lineage and life and backstory built into it. Not to mention the main game covers a story of Marcus's life and all the shit he's been through, only to in turn play his son's story and watch him go through a lot of similar shit, and then turn around, they're constantly working together and back and forth, and you kind of see that there's it's at times a love-hate relationship, at times it's a very close father-son relationship, but then I don't know, there's being from a military family, like I don't know if my father was in the military for years and he had a cold side to him, but when he did open up, it was amazing. And that's like, this game has real elements of that where the Marcus is trying to watch his son be the best soldier he can be and make him proud, but at the same time he's terrified at the thought of losing his child. And he's like, a lot of times he's torn with, to me at least, he's torn with watching that happen. I don't know, the game, like, for all the gore and all the sci-fi and all the crazy guns and everything, it's got heart. It has heart. Like, it definitely pulls you in. Like, I don't know, man. Most first-person shooters I don't really get into, or third-person shooters, whatever you want to call it, shooters, I can't really get into. But the story to these games, they pull you through. If, like I said, they're not my games normally, so the gameplay kind of gets stale to me sometimes, but the story just pulls you through and makes you want to find out what's going to happen next. And then with this new game, they've really introduced a few elements, kind of with some RPG elements. There's the little robot sidekick you have. I think in the beginning it's called Dave. Later on you get a different one, and throughout the game you can level them up, give them more abilities. They fetch stuff for you like ammo, guns, all kinds of other stuff. Gears of War has always been really big into the multiplayer world, and a lot of games kind of focus just on online multiplayer, where Gears has that element heavily, but they also focus couch parties where I think you can have up to 3 people playing on the same system, which is like so many games lost that. I remember being in high school and having LAN parties with all of our friends, or Xbox parties where you just grab your TV, which isn't convenient 15, 20 years ago, where now like a 50-inch TV weighs 5 pounds and you can basically throw it in the back of your car and go to your friend's house. But I don't know. This has definitely been a game series that has stood the test of time. It's been around for 13 years, and I don't see them slowing down. Like, this is, I think, both Microsoft, with everything that they're going on, they're really pushing for new independent products and new original products. And with this, they're really showing what they're capable of, along with everybody at Epic Games and all the other companies involved in making this game. It is just visually beautiful. Gameplay, really solid. There are a few weak points. Excuse me. Sorry. There are some new elements to the game like we've been talking about. One of the things they've added is there's open world elements, which you get on this like big, it reminds me of Waterworld, the boat that Kevin Costner had, the skiff or whatever you want to call it. But it's a 2 people manned ice boat thing that glides across snow and ice and takes you through this frozen wasteland. And I haven't encountered any enemies or anything yet, but there are little side journeys that you can take that are side missions. You ever have like some bottled water and it's supposed to be like nice and refreshing, but instead it kind of tastes like you're drinking liquid sandpaper that just nicely dries everything out as it goes down instead of, you know, refreshing you and hydrating you. I think it's one of those like bottles of water that when you open it, it goes. Water's not supposed to do that. I digress. Open world element. It's awesome. I don't know if it feels like it's really needed. Like I said, there's the side stories and stuff, but they're not needed as opposed to in games like Fallout. All the side stories, as much as they're not really needed to complete the main story, they have so much more in-depth life to them and like a full-fledged story or background or an entire story arc that you could play that will affect how the later on happens in the games and stuff like that. Oh man, that was a good one. Anyways, so the open world element's fun at times. It does break up some of the more monotonous elements of the gameplay. But again, not necessarily needed, but I don't hate it. I wouldn't take it out necessarily. I'm hoping that maybe with some patches and stuff they might add more to it. I'm not really sure. The game literally came out like a few days ago. Not even all the way worldwide yet, technically speaking. But it is doing great. So far there have been some issues with servers and people losing progression with saving and stuff like that. But with any brand new game, especially one shooting at the stars like this one, there's going to be issues, there's going to be bugs, it takes time, they'll be fixed, and Epic Games and, you know, Microsoft, has, from my experiences and other people I know and stuff, they've always been really good about fixing as much as they can and taking as much of the, not advice, but input from fans and really trying to fix things. I don't know what else to say about this game. Like, I haven't played it a lot myself, like I've said. I'm a few hours in, but it's spectacularly beautiful. The gameplay, it pulls you in. It does get monotonous at times, but it's good. If you know, like the Gears of War franchise, it's definitely going to make you happy. They added stuff to it that might throw you off, that you might hate, you might like, you might feel about, who knows. But I don't know. I think it's definitely worth picking up. If you don't have the Xbox Pass, you can go buy it. And I don't know, like, new games are usually between 60 and 80 bucks now, which the main storyline, I believe, is like 10 to 14 hours. But with if you're, you know, someone who plays the game to get every single thing, all the 100% completion, all that jazz, it'll definitely take you longer. If you want to just run through the main campaign, 10, 12 hours, something like that. That's pretty average with a lot of games in this genre. But with all the added elements they have, there's definitely replayability, there's creative aspects of it now, and I definitely think they're just going to continue to put out more. I haven't heard anything offhand if there's going to be expansions as far as on the main storyline or not, but again, I'm not here to give out spoilers for this game. I gave them out to the past games to basically inform you to what's happened so far, and I only really gave away like that doesn't like us, and apparently our internet's not working, so I hope all of this is still recorded. But yeah, Gears of War, I don't know if I could give it a 1 to 10 rating. I'd say this falls somewhere in the between 7 and 8 rating. Graphics amazing, gameplay really gets you, but again, it does have some of the monotonous times or repetitive parts. But most shooting games have that aspect. But this, like I said, it does have a lot of things that break it up. And again, the cinematographics in this game are just mind-blowingly beautiful in a very generally grotesque and disturbing way, because most of the time it's involving blood or organs or something tasty, you know, fun stuff. But I don't know, guys. That's been my little run, I guess. Like I said, one lucky viewer will get this special edition Gears of War as soon as they find out where we are, break into the house, kill the inhabitants, in a blood sacrifice that I may have planned. Just kidding. Sorry, stay devious. See ya.